They say time heals everything. But what they don't mention is that sometimes, time just sharpens the truth. My ex-wife, Mia, walked out of my life a year ago. She said she needed to find herself, which I later learned was just her poetic excuse for finding someone else. I didn't argue, didn't plead. I just stood there and watched her pack her things and walk through the same doorway where we once stood dreaming about our future. Back then, I was shattered. No sense pretending otherwise. The silence she left behind wasn't peaceful, it was suffocating. You get so used to another person's voice filling your days that when it's gone, even your own thoughts start to sound strange. But over time, I rebuilt, piece by piece. I fixed up my old house in Boise, Idaho. Started running again. Learned to cook something other than frozen dinners. And one day, it hit me. I'd gone a whole week without thinking about her. That's when I knew I was finally healing. 3 weeks ago, she came back. It was evening. I was in the kitchen making dinner when the doorbell rang. When I opened the door, there she was. Same perfume, same hesitant smile, same eyes pretending not to be nervous. "Hey, Lucas," she said softly, her voice trembling just enough to sound genuine. For a second, I just looked at her. Part of me wanted to shut the door. Another part wanted to hear what she had to say. She glanced around the house, like she was stepping back into a life that no longer belonged to her. "You've changed things," she said, brushing a finger along a new photo frame. "Yeah," I told her. "I had to." We sat on the same couch, where she once told me she wasn't happy anymore. She started talking in that careful, guilty way people do when they're trying to make peace with themselves. She said she'd made mistakes, that life wasn't what she thought it would be, that she missed how safe she felt with me. I listened, calm, distant, almost amused, because the man she remembered no longer existed. Then she said something that nearly made me laugh. "I've been thinking about us again," she said. "Maybe we could start over." Her voice cracked at the end, just enough to sound vulnerable. Before I could answer, the front door opened. I'd forgotten to lock it. Mia froze when she heard footsteps. Then her best friend, Sophie, walked in. The same Sophie who once warned me that Mia was selfish. The same Sophie who helped me put myself back together. Sophie smiled like nothing was out of place. "Hope I'm not interrupting," she said. Mia's face drained of color. Her mouth opened, but no words came out. The air turned thick, the kind of silence that weighs on you. Sophie moved toward the counter, setting a grocery bag down like she'd done it 100 times before. "Dinner smells great," she said with a soft grin, completely ignoring the tension between us. Mia finally found her voice, sharp and shaking. "What? What is she doing here?" I leaned back, crossing my arms. "You showed up uninvited, Mia." She didn't. Her eyes darted between us, searching for a lie, some thread of denial to hold on to. But there wasn't one. Sophie was the one to break the silence. "I warned you once, Mia," she said evenly. "You take people for granted. And eventually, you lose the ones who really cared." Mia's expression twisted, confusion, realization, then anger. "You've got to be kidding me," she snapped. "You were supposed to be my friend." "I was," Sophie replied quietly, "until I saw what you did to him." I could have said something, stepped in, but I didn't. Watching them face each other felt like finally closing a book I should have put down a long time ago. Mia laughed, sharp, defensive, almost broken. "So what? You two just decided to play house while I was gone." I met her stare without flinching. "No, Mia. You were the one who left. I just stopped waiting." Something in her eyes wavered then, the brittle confidence cracking apart. She took a small step closer, voice trembling. "I made a mistake, Lucas. I thought I could find something better. But no one's ever made me feel the way you did." For a brief moment, I felt the echo of the man I used to be, the one who would have given anything to hear that. But that man was gone, just a ghost, and ghosts don't belong here anymore. I rose to my feet. "You had your chance, Mia. Twice, actually. Once when I loved you, and again when you walked back through that door tonight. Sophie stood beside me, quiet but steady. Mia's gaze darted between us, that familiar mix of jealousy and regret flickering in her eyes. She turned abruptly, muttering something under her breath as she grabbed her purse. At the door, she paused. "You'll regret this, Lucas." I shook my head. "No, Mia. I already did. I'm done doing it again." The door clicked shut behind her, and silence filled the space she left. Slowly, the tension drained away, replaced by that strange calm that follows a storm, when you realize the house is still standing. Sophie let out a soft breath. "You okay?" I nodded. "Yeah. Just surprised." A faint smile touched her lips. "You handled that better than I expected." 1 year ago, I said quietly, I probably would have begged her to stay. "I know," she said. "That's what makes tonight different." We sat again, the air heavy with everything neither of us needed to say. I thought about how things had come full circle, how the person who once broke me had finally walked out for good, and the one who helped me rebuild was still right here. I looked at Sophie. She met my eyes, steady and sure. There was no pretending anymore, just truth. She'd seen my lowest points. I'd seen her strength through all of it. After a pause, she spoke quietly. "You know, she came to me a few months ago." I blinked. "Mia did?" Sophie nodded. "She wanted advice. Said she missed the stability you gave her." I told her she didn't miss you. She missed the comfort she thought she could always come back to. The words stung, mostly because they were true. Mia hadn't returned for love. She came back because the world outside hadn't loved her the way she expected it to. Sophie started unpacking the groceries she'd brought, breaking the heaviness of the moment. "You still hungry?" I smiled. "Yeah. Starving, actually." As she moved around the kitchen, I felt something I hadn't felt in years. Not excitement, not longing, just peace. And I realized how rare that was. Later that evening, after dinner, we sat on the porch of my place in Meridian, Idaho. The night was cool, the sky wide and endless, crickets filling the quiet. Sophie rested her head on my shoulder. "You think she'll ever come back?" she asked softly. "Probably," I said. "But this time, there's nothing left here for her." She nodded, a small smile playing on her lips. "Good. Because she already lost the best thing she ever had." I chuckled quietly. "And what about me? What did I find?" Her eyes met mine. Someone who doesn't run when things get hard. The night wrapped around us, calm and sure. For the first time in a long while, the past didn't weigh me down. All I felt was peace, simple, steady peace.